The Wests Tigers podcast is brought to you by the Wests Tigers Podcast Forum. Join the conversation today at weststigerspodcast.com.au.
Episode number 476, if our math is correct, for the West Tigers podcast. It is a post-loss edition of the West Tigers podcast. Unfortunately, going down 12 points to 6 to the Newcastle Knights in Newcastle this afternoon. Only Nick is here. I don't think that's necessarily a reflection on how the boys are feeling. I just think Sunday night, people have got busy lives and it's very hard sometimes to come on and talk about a loss, and a loss like that. I've got a whole array of one words. I've got all the one word submissions from the West Tigers podcast forum as well. Some interesting ones there. Nick, what have you got for us?
Hello, Joel. My word is deflated, and that's exactly how I felt at the end of that game. And I did message in our group chat that I really didn't feel like coming on the pod after that result. Just really disappointing. I know the conditions really deteriorated, as we got towards the end of the first half, and the second half looked horrible. It would have been horrible to sit out there in that weather, and kudos to everyone that did. And I know Jordan's on his way home from the game as we speak. But I don't know, that we had that game for the winning, for the taking. We should have been well in front at halftime. We had so many opportunities and we just could not make the most of them. And it's almost like we were content to be 6-0 up and we are going to do our best to hang on. And that's just not how you win footy games.
Never going to be enough.
No.
Never, ever, ever going to be enough. It reminded me a little bit, and I think somebody also posted this on the West Tigers podcast forum in the game day thread. They said it's a lot like that Titans game from, I think it might have been 2024, where we went up there and I think it ended up like 8-6 and they scored a late try, and it was just bleak, low quality game there for the winning and just falling at that hurdle every single time. So it was a lot like that. I've never seen a team trying to lose so badly as Newcastle tried to lose that game.
Yeah.
And we just were completely impotent, completely unable to ice any opportunity or any moment. And what I want to ask you, Nick, is, we've had a really interesting experience as football fans, as NRL fans this year, in that we had a 68-0 loss where we never stood a chance, where we were totally and completely outgunned and outclassed by a team that's far superior. And then we had a performance like that today. Two totally different experiences as a fan, and I have to say, as much as it hurts losing 68-0, you can kind of at least respect that we were outclassed on the day, and it was up against a champion team. But that hurt more this afternoon. At 6 o'clock, I was lower than I was after the 68-0 drubbing to Penrith. Is that how you feel?
Look. Probably equally depressed, to be honest. No one enjoys a 68-0 loss, but like you said, it was against the champion team in Penrith. Was it Penrith? Penrith that smacked us. But that game today, like I said, we had that many chances. We absolutely blew it. Like we should have been well in front of halftime. We weren't. We had a lot of chances in the second half. We couldn't put anything, together. I think we dropped the ball twice on the second tackle in consecutive sets in that second half as well, while we're in their half, which put a huge amount of pressure back on us. It was just a disgusting performance. Like, I know there's a lot of people out there defending our side, and I know there's some people within our podcast group that were defending the West Tigers as well. But look, to be honest, Newcastle's ahead of us on the table. Benji in his presser, and you'll probably get to the presser, one thing that I will mention is he told the West Tigers boys after the game, Newcastle are a good team and they're a top 4 team. You know what? In my opinion, I thought Newcastle played like a bottom 4 team today.
Yeah, 100%.
And we lost.
Yeah. I am a little bit disappointed in the press conference from Benji. I think we'll dive right into what Benji said, and then we'll circle back around to my one words, and which is an oxymoron, one words. But anyway, Benji, I think if there was ever a time where I thought Benji could kind of give him at least one of the two barrels, I thought the press conference today might have been an opportunity to really stamp some authority. And he went for the cuddle approach rather than the blast approach. And I just don't know if that was the right approach to take. He said he was disappointed. He said we were mostly the better team. But I think, Nick, you've got to take into account that that's just like saying, well, we weren't as bad as them. Yeah, they were worse than us.
Yep.
I don't think we were the better team. I don't think there's any part of that game where you'd say we were superior. Line breaks, yeah, tackle breaks, anything like that. I don't think in any way we were the better team. I don't know what Benji's saying there.
When you look at the team stats, and I had a quick look earlier, it's funny because we were in front in a lot of those areas. So we had more possession slightly. I think it was 52-48.
Well, where we were better, I will clarify, we were better when it came to handling in the first half. Our completion rate up until like that 30-minute mark
it was good.
Was better. That's one thing, but that's probably all I can point out.
And then we fell in a heap. The second half, we came down to Newcastle's level and then got worse. We deteriorated like the weather. We just got worse.
He said there was a lot I liked. Aside from hanging on to the ball better than Newcastle did in the first 30 minutes, there was nothing that I liked about that game.
What I liked Adam Dewey back in the team. I thought he looked like it was definitely a different sort of dynamic in that halfback jersey. But at the same time, and I'll give Romy a rap in defense. I thought Romy was very strong in defense, but in attack, I don't know if it was because AD was back, but all the plays seemed to go down Dewey's side, especially on the last tackle.
Yeah. Right.
When we were in the red zone for the Knights area, I would have preferred to have seen Romy have more of an opportunity because when we beat the Titans at Leichhardt a couple of weeks ago, Romy was really dangerous, either running the ball, putting his little jink on, trying to draw some defenders and put some through a hole, and his short kicking game is really sharp. We didn't see that today. And today's conditions were perfect for little greasy grubbers into the in goal, or even a few more little kicks or those sort of mid bombs that's come down somewhere near the goalpost. And in wet conditions, it's well worth an opportunity to try and put a ball up and maybe someone's going to drop it. So I thought Romy was a bit quiet in attack, but I wonder if that was because Dewey was back.
Some of our last tackle options were horrendous. Nothing short of horrendous. The ball hitting the ground, the ball going to Taruva to kick a couple of times. That happened. That is just not the way that you're ever going to win a football game. You've got to ice those moments. And I am a little bit over 6 tackles and a bomb. Yeah.
Yep. And we seem to run ourselves into corners a few times too. And like you're just saying with Taruva putting in a grubber, I think we got caught a few times out wide where we had no option but to put a little chip in behind the first line of defence and hope for the best. But it was very messy, very unorganised, especially when you got Dewey and Luai in the halves who can both create. The rest of it was pretty flat.
Benji said Twile should be right to go next week. He said on Adam Dewey, he did some good things. He said he told the players, the Knights are a good team, but we didn't take our opportunities. He said there were good things that we need to keep doing. And like Benji, we love you, but I'm just not on the same page with you with that. I thought that performance, I would use the term, and it's one of my words, I would say that was unacceptable. That was playing for your season. That was a full strength spine, and an opposition that was begging to be beaten, and we couldn't do it. It was very, very unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. My other words, mediocrity. So the whole game from both teams, it was just a mediocre affair. So I don't know what was going on there. They certainly weren't at NRL level. That for an elite competition, how you can serve that up, I do not know. I've got deserved. I think the way that we played, we deserved to lose. We deserved to have the ball bounce their way those few times, those fifth tackle mistakes and penalties that we made. I think we deserved it in the end. People are whinging and carrying on about, it was a forward pass. We deserved to lose that game. We did not deserve to win it. I don't think really Newcastle deserved to win it either, but we certainly didn't. I've got wasted. I thought it was a wasted opportunity. Like there was an opportunity to go 8-7, and now we're 7-8. It was an opportunity to keep our season alive. It was an opportunity to come up against an NRL team that was subpar, and we couldn't put them away. I've got dark clouds. You could see the dark clouds were coming across, and I knew that was an omen for us. The dark clouds were coming. And my last one, I know I've been very, very generous with one words. My word is snails. We are like a pack of snails. We are so slow. And I know that that was not the ground and the conditions for a speedy and pacey game, but we just look so far off the pace when it comes to just literally pace, just being able to do stuff at speed, just snails. I don't know if any of those ring true with you, or you agree with any of those, Nick?
They do. I will say, and I did mention that on our previous pod midweek that Adam Dewey, when he's at top speed, can really move. And when he stole that ball today, who'd he rip it out of? Dane Gagai's
Dango
hands.
guy. Yep.
And that was a moment because I thought Newcastle were going to run up the other end and score. Dewey
Mm,
ripped it out of his hands and
yeah.
almost went the opposite way, but he got moving
Yeah.
to the point where I didn't think anyone was going to run him down. So that impressed me with speed there. But on the flip side, when Hamasi picked up that loose ball
Mm,
and ran about 80 meters and got run down by Kalen Ponga, I watched the highlights back before he jumped on.
mm,
Ponga had probably, or Hamasi had probably a 5 or 6 meter head start.
yeah.
And I thought he was quicker. That's interesting
Ah,
because it's the first time I've seen Hamasi in that much space with no one in front of him.
mm.
And I don't know if he was knackered or hurt, but he sort of ran the first 30 to 40 flat out, and then he seemed to pull up a bit.
Mm, mm.
So I don't know if he ran out of steam, but he slowed up a lot, and that really surprised me. Look, Kalen Pong is quick, but he got well and truly tackled with 10 meters to go short of that line. He almost slid there in the wet conditions, but yeah, bit surprised there with the lack of speed from Hamasi, to be honest.
I don't think it should be lost on anybody. And I don't, let's just think about this, right? We are saying that Adam Dewey appears to be the fastest player in our team. He seems the only player that's got any speed, and
In open space.
Adam
Yeah,
Dewey is not known for his, at least for his 0 to 100 speed. He
yeah.
might be pretty okay when he gets up to full speed. That's just an indication of that snails thing. That was definitely a highlight. Was the Dewey steal? I thought that was fantastic, and of course the Suka try. Well, it was the only one. That was a nice little short ball from Dewey. So credit where it's due for that. Um, in regards to well, there's a few things there. I mean, let's talk about Taylor May. Do you think,
Yeah.
Nick, that's it for the season? I'm surely you're going to go and have surgery.
You would think so. If we manage to get, let's say we can win 3 of our next 4, it wouldn't surprise me if Benji brings Talon back. If we're at half a sniff of making the finals, I think we might see him again.
Mm.
But if we start to fade more, like I'm seriously worried about the Dragons game next week. I know the Dragons aren't going very well at all, but I would not be surprised if we lose to them at Cogra.
Oh no, I wouldn't be surprised at all because we're not that far off where they've improved and we've come back to the
Correct.
field. So that is not a do not turn up at Cogra expecting 2 points and to be an easy win because that
No,
simply won't happen. That is a toss of the coin game.
we will have to be much better to be able to compete against the Dragons. And then the following week we've got the Warriors. So and then after
Mm.
that we've got the Dogs who are starting to, hit a little bit
Yeah,
of
yeah.
form. So we're in big trouble. Like I said, we were fading on the previous pod. I think we're just about, I don't want to say dead and buried, but I'll tell you what, we are pushing poo uphill from this
Yeah.
point of the season if we want to look at finals.
I'm calling it. We are no hope. We are no hope of getting the finals. For it against, I'm sorry, but it died in the 68-0 loss to the Panthers. Yeah, and I don't think you deserve to play finals if you lose to somebody 68-0, even if it is a great team. But we've been spluttering along for 8 weeks now, and I think that today was the death knell. That's it for us, unfortunately,
Yep.
and we'll come back next year.
Yeah, I think we've won 2 of our last 8, and I think it's 3 of our last 10. So
Mm,
after the first 7 rounds, we're crashing hard
yeah.
and we're just hanging on. But when you start looking at the ladder and you start looking at the draw and you start doing the maths, you're in big trouble.
Mm. Some news, Appy not in the Blues squad, so
Yeah.
that's probably no great surprise. If you saw a couple of Appy's moments today, you'd probably say, well, I can understand why.
You know what though? What I will say on Uppy
Yeah.
is he dropped a couple of, which is really odd, right, from dummy half. A couple
Mm,
of absolute sitters just trying to get up and play the ball. You can kind of excuse that from happening, with the greasy conditions. But he did manage to scuttle out of the ruck quite a few times, and I can't remember who it was. He was sort of running left and right, and I think he got a couple of ruck infringements from
mm.
basically playing like a shepherd, which is clever uppy, and not many players can do that. But yeah,
Yeah.
he sort of off balanced it with those mistakes. But yeah, shame that he hasn't been selected in a squad. Shame he didn't get on in game two, and I dare say that's probably it for Uppy
For
for
Origin.
Origin footy anyway.
Mm. Let's be slightly more optimistic for a moment. I've got a couple of people that I'd like to single out for a little bit of praise, and that is I thought Stafford did well. I thought Tony Suka held his own, and I thought Fanua Pole off the bench was probably our best forward.
Yep.
Probably the only forward that really consistently made impact.
Yeah, I agree with Fanua. I thought he was really good. He made a lot of impact. I don't remember him making any mistakes, which
No
is in those
mistakes.
conditions is exceptional for
Yep.
Fanua.
Yep.
The one thing I was really surprised at was when Talon came off with his shoulder and Hamasi went on. I
Mm.
don't understand why Hamasi played in the
In
centres
the
and
centres.
Stafford stayed on the wing,
Yep.
just given the experience that they've both had and the number of games that Stafford's played in
Yep.
NRL in the centres. I honestly thought they would have swapped that over. I don't understand the logic there from Benji.
It'd have to be protecting a shoulder or
Has to
something
be.
like that. There has to be some sort of logic behind that because, yeah.
Yeah.
And even if Makasini ran on, he's in the centres, he missed Dom Young twice. Then you get it out there and you say, get onto the wing. This guy's carving you up. At least you can
Mm.
use the sideline. So that's, yeah, I do not understand that. Uh,
Just speaking of Dom Young there, Joel,
yep.
just like to send a shout out to our friend Mitch, Mitch Wright, who was on our
Mm,
last pod, and he did highlight Dom Young as being a weakness in the Newcastle
yeah.
team, more in defence,
Mm.
which I don't have any evidence to say is wrong, but I'll tell you what, Dom Young carved us up in attack today.
He did. And I was thinking to myself, Newcastle's a little bit like an under 10s team where there's that one big kid and they throw the ball to the big kid. And, he seems to be most of their attacking threat. At least that would seem to be what was happening in the first half. On a less positive note, Buller in the red zone. I don't understand why he can't consistently be there to provide an extra runner, to provide an extra pair of hands, to create the overlap, to be more involved. I didn't see him chiming into our red zone attack at all today. I mean, aside from the bombs where he tried to catch the bombs and outjump Kalen Ponga, he is at his best in that attacking sense when we are in the red zone, and he is running those lines where he is proving that extra attacking weapon. But I can't remember that at all today.
I'd have to watch it back again and focus on that. What I did notice, I think Buller was there a couple of times wrapping around, but I feel like we were a little bit shallow in attack, especially in the Knights red zone area. I just don't feel like we had enough depth to be throwing shape. Maybe that was the conditions dictating that, but I just feel that we were very flat. And those times on the last tackle where we kept sort of jamming into the corner or towards the sideline and ran out of options, we didn't have a lot of depth to start with. So it's very hard to you can't play shape off a flat attacking
Mm.
line. You've got to have a little bit of depth from dummy half and back. So I'd like to watch the highlights back again, Joel, and focus on that. But we were a bit off. We were a bit off.
We are at our worst when we're too lateral, when we're not running. Yeah,
It was very sideways. Yeah.
I thought we just, again today, lacked good, hard, straight running. And those were the conditions for good, hard, straight running. And instead, everything was sideways. Everything was over to you. Just pass it for the sake of passing it and not running with a lot of purpose. And, Dewey looked the only attacking threat because that's what Dewey does in that area. And where are our second rowers doing that? Where are our centres? I was disappointed in that. I thought we reverted back to some of the things that we did, like, for example, in that South game.
Yep.
where we were very flat, going sideways to sideways. And you just, in NRL, you just need some good, hard, straight running. And, as I say, especially in that second half when it was really, really wet, and that's what the Knights started to do, and it started to turn their favour. They started to get the bounce of the ball, some six agains, and some momentum, and we just continued to go, like chickens with their heads cut off.
I will say, I think we were unlucky that Alex Twal didn't pass his fitness test on
Yeah,
Thursday because I think he would have added
he would have
that
straightened
extra
us up.
punch in the middle and
Yeah,
straightened us up and helped to tighten the middle as well. Again, every club has injuries, but with KPP and Samuela out, and that forces Sione, who is a middle, that's forcing him out wide. Like I think our balance in the forwards is a little bit out as well. We're not optimally balanced. We will get Twal back next week, which is great. Samuela hopefully will pass his fitness test and he's coming back early. That's what we've been told. That's what I'm hanging on to. But they're two massive ins.
100%.
Taylor's a huge out.
Yeah.
I actually would like to see him get surgery, to be honest, and get himself right for preseason. I know I think we've got about 10 weeks to go of the regular season, but I can't see Taylor coming back. Even if, like I said before, if we're sniffing around the 8th position with a few weeks to go, I'd hate to bring him back because even when he did his shoulder today, that was just a regular tackle. Like there wasn't anything unusual in the way that he made that tackle. He just put the right shoulder down, came in, got hit, and it was straight out. So it's a few times he's done it this season, but he needs a proper spell. But yeah, regarding the forwards, we'll be better next week with Samuela and Twal back in. We need to get that balance right. And I also think Terrell, as much as I love him, he's playing too big in minutes. Like he got run by down the middle again late in the game for that second Newcastle try.
Yep.
But then he also almost made a cover tackle when Newcastle made that break. When Dom Young ran down the right wing. So
yeah, he was out there. Yeah.
He's busting his butt. He's
is.
Busting it too much.
Yeah.
You can't play 80 minutes. He can physically, but for our team, he shouldn't be.
We're going to fire up the shredder in a moment. I've got somebody I'm ready to put through the shredder.
Look out.
I'm going to let you think about it for a second. Let's have a look at the one-word submissions from the West Tigers podcast forum. Of course, you can have your say and you can get into the debate. And there's always lots to talk about there on the West Tigers podcast forum. So join these good people who have left their one-word submissions. Teddy S. Just went for bludger. It was a bludger of a game. It certainly was. It certainly wasn't a spectacle. You wouldn't want to be a fan that was a casual fan, neither caring about either team. You would have turned it off and watched something else. It was awful. Yeah. NatMac78 went for last. Our last tackle options offered nothing. I couldn't agree more, NatMac78. London Tigers wasted. Poor concentration and poor tackle technique led to the loss. Yeah, it was a wasted opportunity. I hate waste. LFC Tigers' word was typical. There was only ever going to be one winner. I completely agree. It just felt like that entirely, probably for the last 35 minutes. It was kind of like, come on, just do it, Knights. We know what's going to happen. Come on. Let me go and I'll start cooking dinner. Just hurry up and do it. LFC Tiger also said, on a brighter note, Pole didn't drop the ball, but how slow is Makasini? Tigersman's word was done. The season is done. Snake went for next. There's always next year. Yeah, we've gone from next week to next year, unfortunately. Again. Mike's word was deflated, but at least we made it to June.
It's late June.
Yeah, almost July. Oh, dear. And Donny Pascoe, their word was Benji. He's unified the group, but what on earth do we practice at training? It's a good one, Donny Pascoe. Thank you, and welcome to the West Tigers podcast forum. Keep those submissions coming. A brand new member there. The shredder. We need this shredder sound effect. I should have written his name on a piece of paper, but here we go. Just imagine his name is on this piece of paper and it's going in for those watching on YouTube. And that player is Maverick Gaia.
Oh, yeah.
His piece of paper at West Tigers headquarters needs to be marked New South Wales Cup only. He is not to be seen in the NRL team again. And the fact that he got so much game time when he was clearly struggling, Nick, I do not get it. He has no lateral movement. He has no impact with the ball. What on earth is he there doing?
I agree with that. Actually, look, he's a big body. Excuse me. And size is good. However, I agree his lateral movement's not great. He made a few mistakes today, and anyone's going to make mistakes in those conditions. But what bugs me the most, and I was sitting down watching the game with my 10-year-old boy on the lounge, and he dropped the ball during a tackle. And when I watched the replay of him in that tackle, he had the ball under one arm. He was trying to push off three players with his right arm, and the ball. One of the Newcastle players, I don't know who it was, came in with his hand and sort of pushed at his arm, and the ball fell out. So it was a loose carry. It wasn't a strip; it was a loose carry. And when the conditions are that bad, and ball security it has to be an absolute premium, and you need to get through your sets. Hold the ball with two bloody hands, tuck it under your wing, hold it against your chest, whatever. Take the tackle and play the ball. But yeah, maybe one day he'll be an NRL player, but right now he's not.
He will never be an NRL player.
Yeah.
No. If his name was Maverick Smith, he would not be playing NRL. He would not get an opportunity anywhere.
Yeah, he'd be making movies with that name. Maverick's a cool name.
Smith,
I'll give him that. Yeah.
James Garner. He'd be the new James Garner.
Yeah.
The new Maverick.
Yeah.
Man, that's old.
Yep. Anyway, Shredder, happy with that one.
An old reference. Yep. So through the Shredder, Benji, we know that you listen. Never again. Okay. Just get the white out, put his name through it, and off you go to Lidcombe, Maverick, and off you go to the Whacker. Yeah. See you later. I was just a question without notice, a topic without notice, Nick. My children not interested in the rugby league or the West Tigers at all. Could not care less.
Smart kids.
But you've got your own children, and by the sound of it, you're trying to influence them to be part of the West Tigers family. What would you say to a 10-year-old child who's considering being a West Tigers fan? What do you think they need if you're going to survive being a West Tigers fan? I think you need to have a sense of humour.
Yeah, sense of humour is helpful. So, look, I've got three boys. My eldest is 14. I'm sure I've told the story before. He was born a couple months after our last ever finals appearance in 2011. So I spent the first few years of his life taking him to every home game and a few away games. And when he was young enough, he didn't really understand what was going on. He loved it, the crowd cheering and the pom-poms and whatever else. Then he grew up and realised that we didn't win.
Yeah.
And he became very disillusioned with NRL and the West Tigers to the point where he doesn't watch any games. And every time he sees me talking to my middle boy, Isaac, telling him how good the Tigers are going to be because we're almost my eldest, Jacob, he says, Dad, you say this every year and we keep losing. So it really depends, Joel. If I was talking to family, it'd be very different. If I'm talking to a young child at the same age from another family, I'd probably say, look, have a good think about life decisions because this is one decision you might not get back. So
this is one decision you might live to regret. Yeah.
It certainly does, I guess, make you grow up to
cynical, negative.
Yes, well, apart from cynical, but realizing that you need to develop a very strong backbone if you're going to follow this club because you face a hell of a lot of adversity, a hell of a lot of losing. You cop it from your mates.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult, as we all know, following this club. It's funny because I made that sort of picture on ChatGPT and threw it in our podcast Instagram page today. The tiger walking into the distance on the highway with the street sign saying finals 2027 kilometers, and that's what it feels like. It feels like it's a long, long way away.
And we'll never know if we didn't get the injury crisis where we'd be. That is the only thing that I would say that saves us is that if when the season went down the toilet is when Appy got the 10 minutes in that game and he got suspended and we started to cop the injuries and we lost all the momentum during that period and subsequently the big loss to Cronulla and a little bit of it's external, but a lot of this is internal that we've still got to keep growing and still got to have setting higher standards because that today was not acceptable as far as I'm concerned.
That whole period shows us where we are and where we've come from, right? So the first 7 weeks were great before we had to face any real adversity.
Yeah.
We were pretty much full strength. We were ticking along nicely. We were putting some wins together, playing some good footy, real exciting brand of football that the media was starting to talk up. West Tigers are playing finals. It's happening. And you're right, Appy got sent off, or sin bins, got 3 weeks for that hip drop tackle. We started losing players, KPP, or eventually KPP, Samuela, AD, Twal, Talon, all at different periods. Jerome,
Buller.
I think, had a couple of weeks here and there, or earlier on anyway. But you know what? I said a couple of weeks ago too, it kind of is another learning curve for Benji. As hard as it is saying that I think we are gone for the season, it does show that we've come a long way to the point where we have pretty much our top 17 players are good enough to compete. But it also focuses on the importance of now signing the right players for depth positions.
Yeah.
To strengthen us in times of crisis when we have players, especially key players, drop out of the team. So I don't understand. This is kind of having a bit of a tangent off here, but I'm just thinking about Luke Lally being announced as. Is that official going to the Warriors for the rest of the season?
Not yet official, but yeah, it was.
Yeah, and potentially Junior Tupu coming back.
Yeah, we were going to talk about that in a minute.
I understand the winger for a winger, but I also think that we need probably more importance in the forwards at the moment. So, yeah, big learning curve. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be a final season 2026, but maybe this will help us springboard into 2027.
You know what's really, really unfair is that team that beat us today is going to play in the finals.
Yeah, and are they better than us? Really? Like when you look at 1 to 17, I don't think so. We could probably beat quite a few of those teams in the top 8 at our best.
Look, I think full strength Newcastle, full strength West Tigers. If we played them 10 times, it'd probably end up 5-5. I think we're pretty close. And hey, when the ball bounces like they did last week against the Dragons, they, as much as they were lucky that the Dragons didn't kick those goals, sometimes you just. Once you've got that bit of momentum and things start falling your way, and we just can't seem to get it, and we get it, and we just can't seem to hold it. It gets snatched away every time, and it's really, really hard. Luke Lilley, looks to be going to the Warriors. I don't quite understand why we would be letting Luke Lilley go to the Warriors to get Junior Tupu back, because I'm not a fan of either player. I don't think either player is good for West Tigers. I'm happy to see the back of Luke Lilley. But I don't understand what possible logic you could take from releasing Luke Lilley to the Warriors at this point. It just does not add up.
The only thing I can think of is Luke's going at the end of the year anyway. He's been mostly playing Cup and backup NRL winger. So he's gone in another few months from the club. If Junior Tupu is being brought in as a Magpies winger and potentially a backup, and potentially, I don't know what the deal is rumored to be with Junior, but if he's coming back for 1-2 seasons, maybe, then I don't mind him coming in as a reserve grade winger. But look, I think he's got a lot of potential. He's got speed, which we were talking about earlier, which we don't have at the moment.
He's got shocking hands.
He has had bad hands. He would have.
The Roosters haven't been able to get anything out of him. I mean, the Dolphins. It just seems like a sideways move. It just doesn't make any sense. And you got guys like Sakuru and a couple of options in the New South Wales Cup that we haven't called on, and we're giving guys like Maverick Guy and Junior Tupu opportunities. I just don't get it.
It is a strange one. I don't know. Are you going to talk about the other signing that we've made during the week as well?
Jake Averillo,
Josh Schuster.
Oh, Josh Schuster, yes. Yeah. Well, it's only a New South Wales Cup contract, so as far as I'm concerned, he hasn't really signed with the West Tigers. I don't mind it because it's low risk and potential massive reward. The fact that he wasn't even on my radar to talk about shows me what my expectations are. But I certainly have my fingers crossed that that's not the way that it works out. I think the worst thing we can be doing is putting any expectation on him externally. Yeah. Let's give him the rest of the year in New South Wales Cup. Give him 10 games in reserve grade and see how he's going. And if he's fit and firing, then let's look at 2027 and options there. But he should not really be on our radar too much, I wouldn't think at the moment.
He shouldn't. And I think most people know what Josh Schuster can be. Yeah. He showed that in his very early years. Like he's a big body. He's got a lot of great ball skill. Yeah. He's a real footballer, but unfortunately he's had a lot of mental demons, and I think that's impacted his on-field performance and probably his attitude over the last couple of seasons. So I'm really glad when I heard the interview, or I think I read some snippets from Benji's interview about the signing of Schuster. It sounded like I know Benji put it to him and said, if you're coming for money, don't come to West Tigers. Like, we're not in that position. And he said, I don't want money. I said, I don't need money. I want to come for an opportunity. And he wanted to prove himself that he can play footy again and that he turned his life around. So I'm really, really happy that the club's given him an opportunity to come and put on the black and white strip and play for the Magpies. And like you just said, if he can turn his life around and if he can get his football back on, then he might surprise. There's 10 or so games left of our season. He could potentially slide into a back row if we need a little bit of back row cover, especially with KPP out. So let's just see what happens. I'll be watching him very eagerly over the next couple of months anyway. I hope he does well, and I hope he exceeds everyone's expectations.
You've got to find that right balance of giving him too much too soon, but also making him making it look too far away as well. But I think if Benji's got the right attitude and Josh has got the right attitude and they handle this well, I personally would probably most likely not pick him in NRL this year under any circumstances. Just get to the off-season and start fresh in the off-season if everything across the end of the 2026 season works out as best as possible. I wouldn't be giving him NRL game time personally because I don't think that necessarily is the best thing for Josh. Let's wait and see how we go. Fingers crossed. It would be fantastic for him. Be fantastic for him if it works out. I've always been a fan, and I would love to see him shine, and I'd love to see him reach that potential that he's got. Because it comes back to that word wasted. That's one of the things that you hate about this game is when you see guys that have got lots of talent and it just gets wasted for one reason or another. If I was cynical, I'd say something about the white jersey being used for an away game, but shall we just leave that alone? We won't mention that.
I noticed that when they ran out, and I thought of you straight away. I thought, here we go. They're wearing the away jersey, which is great. We are playing away. But,
no, but that's the home jersey.
Yeah, it's a home jersey. Yeah, you're right. I don't know what they're thinking, Joel. It's all very confusing. It
is all very confusing. Welcome to the world of being a West Tigers fan. I've been confused for 26 and a half years.
Yep.
Thank you, Nick. I think we'll wait for the midweek team to come out on Tuesday and regroup and come back and do it all again. Dragons on Saturday, so it's only a relatively quick turnaround. And fingers crossed that we are slightly better than the awful Dragons.
You know what? It's just a horrible way to finish a weekend. I had a really nice weekend. I played golf yesterday, and I'm loving being back at golf because I did hurt my shoulder a little while ago and had a few months out, which sucked.
True.
Had a good game of golf yesterday. Got all excited for the Tigers this afternoon. My boy played for the Shamrocks, so big shout out to Dundas Shamrocks wearing the hoodie tonight. He played out at Box Hill this afternoon. They also lost, which was a bit of a shame, but we managed to get home before the storm rolled in and sit down and watch the West Tigers. And then, we played a stinker of a match, and now I'm about to get ready for bed and go to work tomorrow. So not a nice way to end a Sunday, but you just said short turnaround. I hope we can win on Saturday because I don't want my weekend ruined next week. So come on, West Tigers, give us something to cheer about, please.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Joel.